As after Aizawa jumps down to fight the rest of the villains, Kirigiri stands in front of the rest of the students, introducing himself and saying that the League of Villains have came here today to take down All Might. As he keeps talking, immediately Baku and Kirishima try to attack him, but he immediately shoot out a puff of smoke, a giant mist cloud that covers everybody. But before he managed to teleport anyone, Izuku speaks up saying, "Vacuum wall," as suddenly his mist all hits an invisible barrier, as if it can't pass through it. And remember, if Kirigiri's mist cannot come close to you, it cannot make a portal around you. As he's surprising in his mind, interesting. I cannot teleport anybody if that kid is around, which giving Baku enough time to throw an explosion into him, but Kirigiri covering himself in mist to avoid his attack. After which, Izuku trying to see where's Kirigiri through the mist to try and expect his next move, but suddenly, as if Midoriya being sucked into the ground, a portal open up under his feet, teleporting him away, which keeps the rest of the students vulnerable. The Hero 13 tried as much as possible to hold him with her black hole, but the same thing happened in the canon. She gets sucked in by her own black hole. Eventually, Kirigiri continued teleporting everyone, as Midoriya falling from the sky. He find himself falling before, well, seeing under him the water, as before he slammed into the water, he said "vacuum wall," which stopped himself midair. Right now, as if he's standing on air, saying, "That was close," but after which he see two people falling from the sky too, being Mereda and Fruppy. As immediately when he see them falling, Izuku said, "Come here," as they both come by his side as if reality just slides them upward towards him. After which Izuku just jumped down with them into the ship in the water zone, as Mineta said, "What was that?" As Izuku said, "Don't worry, I just managed to drag you towards me." As Fruppy said, "Thanks, Midoriya, Herbert." As Izuku looking into the water, as he said, "There are 8 villains." As Fruppy said, "How do you know?" There doesn't seem to be anybody there, as while Mineta was looking, some villains comes out of the surface of the water, as they see they are 8. As immediately Fruppy asked Midoriya, "How did you know how many are there in the water, Herbert?" As Izuku said in his mind, "Yeah, how did I know? Something weird is going on. It's almost like I'm sensing them." As Midoriya started focusing, closing his eyes, saying, "Sensing them. I can sense people. No, it's not people. It's something within everybody. Even Fruppy and Mineta have it. Even I have it." As Midoriya just his eyes closed, but his vision is not blind. He can see what other people can't. He sees some weird, energy going through the veins of everyone. But his own is different. His own dark, twisted, corrupted. But he immediately opened his eyes, shaking his head, saying, "What is happening to me?" As Fruppy finally just shaking Midoriya, saying, "Midoriya, are you okay?" As Izuku said, "Yeah, I'm fine. It seems whatever I can do, I can sense them. Sense the people around us." As Mineta said, "Well, if you can sense people? No? How does that make sense?" As Izuku said, "I don't know. But now we need to think of a plan to get away from here. Those villains don't seem to be attacking us." As Fruppy said, "Yeah, you're right. And especially, why did that mist guy teleport me here, Robert? I am a frog. Teleporting me into the water zone will be beneficial." As immediately Izuku said, "That's right. Maybe they don't know about our quirks. And if they don't about our quirks, we have the element of surprise on our side." As they start talking about a plan. Eventually, Izuku standing in front of the villains, as all of them were about to attack, but suddenly, Izuku said "vacuum wall," as one of the villains that created a giant water hand tried to slam the ship and cut it in half. It's an invisible wall, as he said, "What the?" As they see a kid standing in front of them with a book flying by his side. As for some reason, it just feels cold. The air around him suddenly goes very cold. And Izuku said, "Vacuum wall," as suddenly all the villains just being pushed into the bottom of the water, as they are just being pushed deeper. After which, Fruppy jumps down and starts wrapping her tongue around some villains before Well, Mineta just using his balls to throw it at the villains and captured them. As immediately, while Fruppy is fighting in the water, Izuku just trying to protect her as much as possible, saying all his old words, one of which a villain tried to attack Fruppy with a water arm, which Izuku, when he saw it, he said, "Return." As the attack returned straight into the villain himself. After a while, by Midoriya's and Fruppy's and Mineta's teamwork, Izuku supporting them, making sure no damage is harming them, they managed to defeat all of the villains, after which Fruppy grabs Midoriya and Mineta and jumping out of the water. As right now they are on the side of the water zone saying, "That was amazing, Fruppy. Tsuyu." As Tsuyu said, yeah, it was. You're amazing too, Midoriya. Robert, your quirk is really useful." As Mineta said, "How did we survive that?" As while they are talking immediately, Izuku feeling like a stabbing sensation in the back of his head. When he looked down, he see 3 people, or sense 3 people. The one of them is the guy with the hands on his face, and the other mist person, while also sensing a 3rd person that he felt before. It's Aizawa. But the 4th person that Izuku didn't sense, but he saw, it was the giant creature. As after which Izuku said, "I can't sense that thing. It doesn't have whatever that energy is." But when he looked into Aizawa, he's very damaged. Aizawa is getting broken bones and his blood is splashed everywhere. Mineta and Fruppy are very scared, and while they are watching, Shigaraki notices them. As when Izuku felt the intense pressure from Shigaraki, the killing presence, he immediately said, "Vacuum wall." As when Shigaraki tried to touch Fruppy, his hand just touched an invisible wall, as he said, "What the hell is this?" As immediately, after which Izuku said, "Get away!" as Shigaraki goes flying back, as the Nomu catches him before he gets hurt, and Shigaraki being put down, as he said, "What the hell was that? That wasn't just any normal quirk. It's almost like if that boy just picked something and it's happened." As Midoriya, Fruppy, and Mineta going out of the water. When Izuku seeing the state of Aizawa, he immediately said, "Come here," as Aizawa slides right in front of Midoriya, which made Shigaraki realize exactly what this kid is doing. Whatever he says comes to reality. As he said, "Interesting. What an interesting quirk. But also such a cheater, you can't just block my attack like that." As Izuku said, "Fruppy, Mineta, take Aizawa out of here." As Fruppy said, "But what about you, Robert?" As Izuku said, "I'll take care of this. Just go on, take him out of here." As after which, Fruppy and Mineta just grab Aizawa, Izuku pushing them away by saying, "Get away." As after a while, they land safely, they didn't get hurt at all. It's a gentle push, you could say. As for Shigaraki, he's standing in front of Midoriya with the Nomu saying, "How are you, kid?" As Izuku said, "That's not important." As Shigaraki said, "Well, I want to know your name. Your quirk is interesting. How did you stop my attack? Do you just talk and things happen?" As Izuku's just gulping his throat before saying, "Get away!" As the Nomu just jumped in front of Shigaraki, which taken the hit. And the Nomu didn't go flying away. As he said, "What?" As Shigaraki said, so it is that. Anything you say can happen, does it? Well, sadly for you, my Nomu over here has a shock absorption. You can try push it all you want, but he won't gonna flinch." As he said, "Nomu, attack!" As immediately the Nomu going attacking Midoriya, while Izuku said, "Vacuum wall!" As immediately the wall just being built in front of Midoriya. As from behind, a portal appeared behind of him and a hand of Shigaraki coming out of it, trying to touch Midoriya, but Izuku said, "Vacuum!" But he was almost about to being touched. However, he managed to dodge it, barely, but his concentration been, broken, which allows the Nomu to grab him after the wall, the invisible wall disappears. As he grabs Midoriya and throwing him into a tree, as Izuku just slam into the tree and start coughing a bit sick. As Shigaraki said, "I see. You can say things and things happen, but if you do not have enough time to speak, your quirk is useless. As after which, the Nomu goes attacking Midoriya, which Izuku was about to say vacuum, but the Nomu was too fast for him this time, as he grabs him by his face and slams him to the floor. As immediately, Izuku just coughing blood, saying in his mind, but it's cracking. As Shigaraki coming closer to looking to him, saying, make sure to cover his mouth, Nomu. As Shigaraki just looking to him, saying, your quirk is interesting. I'm sure that Master would like it. Karigari, we're gonna take this one with us. As Karigari nods, and he was about to teleport him before someone comes through the door, being none other than the Symbol of Peace, All Might, with no smile on his face, as he jumps down into the battlefield, seeing the poor state that Midoriya is in, coughing and breathing heavily while the Nomu try to protect Shigaraki from All Might's punch, as right now he's looking into Midoriya after lifting him up between his arms, being even more angry, seeing the poor state that this poor child is in, the broken bones, the twisted arms, and the chest that is, he's almost half dead, as when All Might put his ear into Midoriya's chest, he doesn't hear a heartbeat, which he grunts his teeth in anger, saying, how dare you! As he just puts Midoriya gently into the ground before dashing into the Nomu in a moment of anger, letting all his rage into the monster, while Shigaraki is surprised, saying, did we kill him? As the Nomu just grabs All Might and punch him away, while All Might being angry, saying, how dare you hurt my students like that! As after which Shigaraki said, it's finally you. Why were you so late, All Might? As All Might's getting angry, saying, I'll make you pay for your crime, villain! As he continues his fight against the Nomu in a moment of anger, while with Midoriya, he finds himself in an absolute red place, and red void of nothingness, saying in his mind, where am I? Am I dead? Is this how it ends? No, it can't be. I still didn't become a hero. My dream is still not achieved, and I still have people to save. Why? I can't die. Can I? I can't end like this. As suddenly he hear a chuckling from behind, saying,
well, it could end up like this, you know?
As when Izuku turned around, he see just a giant black silhouette with horns and wings. As Izuku said, oh, what the? As the guy said,
I see that you are surprised. I do not blame you. I would be too surprised if I saw me.
As Izuku said, who are you? As the black silhouette speaks up, saying,
that hurts my feelings. I've been the closest person to you this whole time, and you didn't notice me. How sad.
As immediately Izuku said, the closest person? Who are you? As the creature speaks up, saying,
my name is not important. What is important right now is that you are almost dead, which means that I can take over you.
As he tried to grab Midoriya, but suddenly Midoriya disappeared out of his hand, and Izuku said, take control of me? What do you mean? As he said,
how are you so persistent? All I want is just to have a body of my own. Is that a hard thing to achieve? A hard thing to ask? Aren't you supposed to be a hero? Help me and let me live.
As he tried to grab him again, but Izuku trying to come out of his hand, as the creature saying,
don't you want to win this fight? Lend me your body and I promise you I'll kill those dirty villains that attacked us.
As Izuku breaking out of his arms, saying, I don't know who you are or whatever you are, but I know that you don't have a good intentions. As the creatures start chuckling again, saying,
what gave it away? Was it the giant black skin? Figure that I look like? Or is the giant red smile? Or is my deep voice? Or the fact that you're using my powers if it's your own?
As Izuku said, your powers? As he said,
my magic. You are using it. And now, I'm here to restore it from you. So give it back to me, human.
As he grabs Midoriya and slams him between his hands, saying,
Fine, I can have mine.
but someone starts coming out of his arm, as Izuku just crawling out of his fist saying, no, this is my body, my will. As the creature speaks up saying,
You're as persistent as I thought you are. Then again, what can I expect from you? You are really such a heroic person. How enjoy breaking yourself.
As Izuku just crawling out of his hand before start running up on his arm saying, I'm not gonna be taken over by whatever you are. As the creature said,
Sure, let's play this game. I think I was a bit bored watching you fight either way.
as he's tried to grab Midoriya and eventually crushing him like a little insect, which he managed to. As he said,
Let alone your life here. You could never defeat me. Without me, you're nothing. Without me, you can't win, and you'll die without me. If you refuse my offer, you'll die this moment. Me and you are dead. Do you wanna die? Don't you wanna achieve your dream?
as Izuku crawling out of his hand with black markings appearing on him, the corruption of this creature covering him. It almost taken over, but Izuku's still there saying, I will not gonna be taken over by you. I'm never giving up. Never again. This is my body, my will, and I am me. As eventually the creature being absorbed, and he said,
How's this possible? His will. She's powerful. Maybe I could underestimate her.
as after a while, with Izuku being consumed by the darkness and the real world, while All Might is fighting against the Nomu, the fight just stops because everybody feeling a chilling presence. And when they look behind, they see the corpse of Midoriya grabbing into the book before he whispers under his breath. As his wounds heals up, his blood all evaporates, and a dark matter coming out of him. A horn is painfully making its way out of his skull, half of his hair turning black and a slit in his left eye with markings appear all over his face. As when they realize that he stood up, he looks nothing like the child that he was once. As Shigaraki saying, what is? As Midoriya said,
Get away.
as the Nomu flying away into the distance, Shigaraki tried to decay Midoriya by the help of Karagiri, but Midoriya said,
Get away.
as Shigaraki flying away before Karagiri managed to catch him with a portal. As Shigaraki said, what the hell is this? As Midoriya starts floating up in the air, All Might seeing this, saying, young Midoriya? As when he looked into All Might, he said,
Get away.
as All Might being shot miles away from Midoriya, keeping him safe, while the Nomu is right now against the wall. Shigaraki said, whatever, Nomu, kill him, as Karagiri opening a portal for the Nomu to make and one in the air to fall straight into Midoriya. And when Izuku looking up, he see the Nomu going down into him. He said,
Split him open.
as the Nomu just being split in half. But again, it regenerates, and when Izuku see this, he said, he breathed heavily as he lands into the ground, while Shigaraki is wondering, what the hell is this kid? This is not a child. What the hell are you? A child, or are you just a devil? As Izuku looking into the Nomu 4, he speaks up saying, as after which when Izuku speaking these words, a giant black trident appear in his arm, as he just spins it around before the Nomu just dashing towards him, and Izuku just stabbing the trident right into the Nomu's heart as he slashed the Nomu in half. As Shigaraki was waiting for the Nomu to heal up, but it never healed up, and Izuku still holding the trident, and he said, what? What is the meaning of? As Izuku just pointing at Shigaraki saying,
Approach me now, villain.
as Shigaraki just slides right in front of Midoriya, as Izuku said,
Spikes.
and dark colored black and rusty old spears coming from the floor, stabbing Shigaraki in his body, and every section. His legs, his arms, his body, as he's giving a very bloody scream. And Shigaraki just screaming in pain while Kurogiri is watching this, wondering what he should do. And when Midoriya looking into him saying, "Approach me," as Kurogiri also approaches Midoriya, but before Midoriya tried to kill Shigaraki or kill Kurogiri, Kurogiri made a portal in front of him to protect him from the stab of the trident, after which he teleported the trident behind Midoriya's back to stab himself, which actually succeeded. And when that happened, Midoriya's magic just disappeared. The spikes that stabbed Shigaraki goes back into the ground and Shigaraki is being freed. Immediately after which, Kurogiri taking this chance to teleport himself and Shigaraki away, while Midoriya was about to say, "Come here," but they already left, as Midoriya is standing up, saying to himself, as he just heals his wounds. Though there are still villains around the place, and when All Might come back into the situation to see Midoriya just standing there, the Nomu is chopped down to pieces, and when Izuku looking into the Nomu, he just said, "Wave of flames," as the rest of the pieces of the body of the Nomu catches on fire, as they just turn into ash. While the rest of the villains watching this, they try to attack Midoriya. However, after a quick moment of silence, Izuku speak up once again saying, "Vacuum wall," as all of the villains facing to the ground, as Izuku continues saying, "Be crushed." As they even go deeper into the floor, the gravity pressure is unbearable. He keeps talking. "Be squished, broken to pieces, riddled with holes." As the villains just being buried into the floor of the USJ is cracked, and the ceiling is start cracking, and the shards of the glass falling from the sky, as Izuku saying vacuum wall to protect himself. After a while, when all the villains are being dealt with, unconscious, Izuku just looking left and right, All Might watching this, he said, "Young Midoriya, what's happening to you?" As when Izuku looked into All Might, he take a step forward before the dark things, the dark matter on his body just disappear. His horn goes back inside his skull and his eye returned to normal before he couldn't help it anymore. He just succumbed to his pain and fall into the ground unconscious, with All Might catching him before he fall into the ground, saying, "Young Midoriya, what was that? Whatever you did, you saved us, but what kind of power was that?" As either way, All Might taking Midoriya away after the rest of the school teachers come and helping the rest of the students. Everybody goes to the hospital. And this is gonna leave it off, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you think about this part and what do you think will gonna happen in the next part. Well, I have nothing more to say than Severed was here.